sticks a little. Let's see. You channel. Nice. It's like an overhead. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, what's up, John? Can you guys hear me? Let me know because I had to run this different. Can you hear me? Cool. Dave just went outside for a smoke. You guys are in for a treat. Dave the Beast Spitz. Black Sabbath. Now, if Dave signs everything like David Gilmour in my house, can I sell my house for $100 million? We shall see. Much easier to set up in here than in the studio. A Scarlett, computer, phone, and 2 mics. Mechanic Jams. What's up, buddy? I can't see the other one. Is it Tar? T-A-R? Oh, yeah? He did 2 or 3 albums with them. I know one was, I think, Ray Gillen, maybe Tony Martin, and somebody else. Absolutely, Steven. Sorry I didn't call you back. I had to set everything up real quick. Not every day I have guys like Dave in my house. Like I said, I'm kind of private even with people like that. But he's a good guy, so he's always more than welcome over. You guys got a lot of questions for him? Oh, yeah? You'll be in full swing. Nice. There he comes.
Cool. Got a nice backyard there.
Oh, yeah?
Grill out there and everything. Oh, you didn't show me the studio, bro.
Oh, I'll do it when we're done. We're live.
We're live now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll scoot over so you can get, because it seemed like I was kind of far over that side. So you
there's a little bit of delay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? Dave the Beast fucking Spitz from Black Sabbath. I can't even name all the bands. Great White, White Lion, Arcadia, Chris Impelitary.
Right. Nuclear Assault. Played with Nickel McBrain and
McBrain
Damage. Slam Nation, Purple Heart. The list goes on and on, bro. Americade, obviously. Back in the day from Brooklyn, Americade.
Man. So these are the comments. That's Stephen. He's saying hi,
These are the people that are on.
Mr. Spitz.
Oh, okay.
He's calling you Mr. Spitz.
Well, they know that I'm a lawyer also.
Oh yeah. Oh, tell that story about the great white thing that you told me. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, you want to start there? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool. Well, geez, where do I start? Well, after Sabbath, I was living in L.A. Had a bunch of bands there. We won't get into all of that. And then Great White had called me because the bass player Tony Montana, he was playing. He's actually a guitar player, but he was playing bass with Great White, and he had a death in the family. So they called me like very last minute. I had to learn their whole show in like 2 days. So I went down, picked up. We didn't have streaming then.
Yeah.
This gave me like a whole stack of CDs.
I had to learn all this.
Right.
That's the kid.
right. That's how they do it now. But yes, I learned the whole show in like a day and a half, 2 days or whatever. And then they flew in and did some shows with them. And then we got along so great, and famously, they ended up making some changes in the band. And then a little while after, they called me back, to do the record. So this was Psycho City in 1992. So I ended up recording a great album, and I wrote a couple of songs on both of the records I did with them.
Oh, wow.
And you can tell it's the Beast influence there, because it was like Great White meets AC/DC meets Sabbath. It's pretty cool. Big Goodbye, people know that song. A couple other ones, Step on You. To go back and check out that album, Psycho City, there's a lot of really good songs out there. So then, during at that point, that was like 92. And then we did the record, and it was just, pretty much just to do the record. And then they called me back, 94, 95, to do another record. And during those sessions, they asked me to join the band as a full-time member. But, which was flattering. It was great.
Yeah.
I love those. I mean, Great White's not metal. It's blues, hard rock.
Yeah.
They're an amazing band. Great people, great musicians, great albums, great songs. They've been around, since I was in the early 80s. And, unfortunately, at that time, I had already made the decision to start preparing for law school. So I was actually studying for the law school admission test at that time. So it was a little bit of a tough decision, because I would love to have, continued on with Great White. But, I already decided, and, I'm going to law school. So I said, guys, look, I appreciate it, but I'm good to, do the next record, which was Let It Rock, the second album. And I says, look, I'd love to do the record with you, but, I'm going to law school. So that's what happened there. And then, most people know, if you follow Great White and stuff, not long after that, a year or two later or whatever, they were involved in, they had that giant fire up in Rhode Island, at that club in Rhode Island, where I think 99 people died, including another guy, a guitar player, I forget his name.
Good thing you didn't join.
Well, this is how life is, making decisions along the way. You can't see the future. You never know, what's going to happen. And I would have, if I had decided to join, I would have been playing at that show. So you never know what's going to happen in life. That's the way it goes sometimes. So
Todd Latour's an attorney from Queensryche?
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
Me neither.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've been practicing law. Went to law school in 96 through 99, passed the bar right away, and I've been practicing almost 27 years already. That's like crazy when you think about that,
I know.
I can't believe it's like that long already.
Dude, where did the time go?
Where does the time go, man? We keep rocking.
I woke up and I was 60.
I've got a few on you, bro.
Yeah. You guys got any questions?
We can't hear them. They just they just type it.
Yeah, they type it in.
Okay. Are these all the people that are online?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Usually I have my monitor set up and I can see how many. They can tell you.
Yeah.
Don Dockin?
Right. Well, I don't know what he's asking about, Dockin.
The guitar player's an attorney.
Oh, really? I know Don. We actually recorded that first Great White album. No, the second Great White album we did at Don's studio, because they're buddies. They were involved in his studio there.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, in California. Yeah, great studio.
How long was he in White Lion?
White Lion? Okay. Let's see. I was in Americade, like 82 through 84. Me and Walter Wildman, rest in peace. He died like 10, 15 years ago. Him and I left. We had a couple little bands. We had a band called New York, New York. We played some shows around New York City for a while. Had a couple different guitar players, two or three different singers. And it was during that time I got a call from a longtime college friend of mine, a guy named Phil Ernst. Phil, what's happening? I haven't talked to him for a while. He was worked at one of the biggest booking agencies in the world, based out of New York City. And he gave me a call one day, and he's like, "Beast, we got this band White Lion. They got a deal with Elektra. They're getting rid of the other bass player, whatever, who was actually Felix Robinson from Angel.
Holy shit,
Yeah, Electro Asylum, right back then.
Oh my god.
So, and they parted ways with this other bass player, and they were trying out like, I don't know, 80, 90 guys from all over the place and stuff. And Phil called me up. He goes, "Beast, I'm going to hook you up with them, go down. They got really good songs and stuff." So I set up a meeting. I met with their managers and Mike and Vito, up at 50-something 2nd Street or something, which is right where the original first hard rock was. With the guitar, with the car sticking out of the building.
Oh, yeah,
I think that was like the first hard rock ever. It was right near there. They had that's where some of the booking agent's office was there. And, met him in there.
I forget all about that.
Yeah. So I came in there. I met Mike and Vito and a couple of the agent guys, and we used cassettes back then. They popped in a cassette, and I had to contain myself when I'm listening to, because I hadn't heard the songs. This was me meeting him, and then to go check out the songs and stuff. So, and I had to contain myself when they were playing the cassette, because the songs were great. The like Broken Heart and
That's when they did the fight.
This
Demo thing.
This became Fight to Survive. Which was really the first album.
Right? I really liked the sound of that.
Yeah, that album was great. There's a whole story.
Heavy. It was
real heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because White Lion, I mean, all these stories are connected and long and crazy, but, White Lion was way heavier when I joined. And then then the story
Mellowed
continues.
out.
Yeah, they,
labels
whatever.
changed.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. We're not going to get into all that stuff. But when they played the tape, I'm like, man, this is great. And we talked for a while, and they, gave me the tape. I went home to learn the songs and stuff. And then I went down, because we actually had 4 managers. We were at the two of the agents' office, the 2 big booking agents in New York City, and then there were 2 brothers that owned L'Amour's in Brooklyn, George and Mike Parente. You and I talked about this before, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so they actually had 4 managers, these guys, because they had it hooked up in the beginning. So that's, they had built a rehearsal space right in the basement of L'Amour's in Brooklyn. It was just like this cement, downstairs, like cold thing. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that story. So they built a rehearsal, studio down there, and then we had mirrors covering like 30 feet. It was like a big room.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but it was all like cement and damp, and but that's where we rehearsed, and that's where they were auditioning everybody. So I went home and learned the songs. I come down. There's like 3, 4 other guys waiting. You had to walk from the street level. You had to walk down this flight of stairs to get into like the rehearsal dungeon there. So I pull up. I drive in from Rockland County, because I was living, a little outside the city. I'm from, I was born in Forest Hills in New York, but I grew up outside New York City in actually a town called Haverstraw, which is famous, known for like Revolutionary War with George Washington and all this. That was real suburbs then. It's near like Spring Valley, Muncie, Orangeburg. And then we also had a house up in the Catskills, and the original Woodstock concert in '69 was like 2 miles from my house. But that's another story. So that's pretty much where I grew up. Yeah, my stories, they're connected, like I said, and they're interesting. So anyway, I pull up. I drove all the way down there, way down to Brooklyn, to come jam with them. And there's like 3, 4 other guys waiting, outside. I pull up like, Beast, come on down, come on down. And it's a funny story, because I had met Mike and Vito, and then Nicky Capozzi was the original drummer. I think he still lives on Staten Island or whatever. And then eventually Greg D'Angelo replaced him, but that was later. But the original guy was this guy, Nicky Capozzi, who had this big giant hair. He was like a Rush, Neil Peart kind of. He was amazing drummer, this guy. Smoked weed all the time, whatever.
Yeah.
So I come down and, we'd start working on songs and Vito's changing everything around, trying to trip me up and screw me up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was trying to totally fuck me up. Right? And I'm like, dude, that's not going to work with me. I got right in his face, and we're fucking jamming, and then we just started jamming on a bunch of other shit, and it was going so great, and they were like freaked out. Because I don't think they ever heard me play anymore. I wasn't really known then. I played in upstate bands, up in the college days. And,
Yeah.
I was in Americade. I had come down and joined Americade in Brooklyn just a couple of years before that. So it was just me on my way up, really, in rock and roll at that time. But I've been playing since I'm like 11 or 12.
New York was like a hot spot. Like you
Yeah,
had
of course.
Limelight, China Club.
Yeah, we played
Lamont.
I played all those places. But this was like a little bit even before that. Well, around the same time, mid 80s, like 83, 84, whatever. So they were trying to trip me up, and Mike's looking at me. He's being kind of like, who is this guy, And Vito's like trying to change all the riffs around. And the drummer's like, he was great. He was just like following me. And I'm getting right in the drummer's face. I'm getting Vito's face. And Mike goes, stop after a couple of songs. And he goes, okay. And he runs up the stairs and he sent everybody else home. He goes, B, you got the gig.
That's a great story.
Yeah, that's a good story. That's how White Lion kind of started.
Mike's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah, Mike's cool.
Yeah.
I saw him about 10, 12 years ago. He played over here at the casino, like acoustic.
Jim from Sabbath Nights, he's, I think, playing tonight with him, like an acoustic gig.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Down here?
No, I don't know where. But I told him, hey, if you're not doing anything, click on the live stream. I sent him everything.
Oh, okay,
I said,
cool.
tell you and Mike, come watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I saw him, I don't know, about 10, 12 years ago down here. And then Jerry Best, great dude, great bass player. I saw him about a year and a half ago, maybe, down at the Hard Rock. We had some dinner together with some other people, and he, as far as I know, he was the guy that's been playing bass, with Mike Tramp's White Lion.
Have you been there since they changed, like, the inside at the
Hard Rock? A million times. I was there Monday.
I haven't been there.
Oh, I was there Monday for the Triumph show, man.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It was really good.
Matt Kramer was there. Did you see him?
No, I didn't see him.
He took some pictures.
Did he?
Rick, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see him.
Let's see.
So that's an interesting White Lion story there.
John wants to know, did you get along with Tony Martin?
Fantastic, yeah.
I heard he's a great guy.
Great guy. We got along famously. Because remember, there were 3 different singers when I was in Sabbath. Originally, it was Glenn Hughes, who sang on Seven Star, and that's a whole other story. I don't know if people want to ask about that. And then Ray Gillen, who I discovered and got into Sabbath. That's a whole other story on its own. Most people know that story. Because I've told it in all the Sabbath books, there's all the magazines, they know, because Ray Gillen was actually like a local, he's from Jersey, but he was like a Jersey, New York local guy, an unknown singer, and he was playing in, well, you got me on this now, so I might as well finish it. He was playing in Bobby Rondinelli's band.
Oh, yeah. Holy
Right,
shit,
it was like
I
a whole
forgot about him.
family band,
Oh,
right?
my
You and I
God.
talked about this. And it was Rondinelli, one of his brothers, his sister played keyboards, and Ray was the singer. And one time I was just hanging out partying at L'Amour's, and I saw this guy singing. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And he blew me away, Ray Gillen, and that kind of, I remembered him.
He's my favorite singer.
Yeah, I know. You and I talked about that. Rest in peace, Ray, too. So, okay, we're going to keep moving because all the stories.
We'll do some more stories. Because the Ray Gillen thing's crazy. Which bass amplifiers do you prefer?
Oh, I mainly use Ampegs. I've been using them for many, many years. I was one of Ampeg's biggest endorsees. Back then, I brought Billy Sheen, who isn't using now, but, I brought Billy Sheen over to Ampeg, even Michael Anthony and a bunch of other people. And that's an interesting story because I've been using Ampeg since I'm a little kid. I originally had a B25.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah. Somebody said it was a little low, so I turned it up a little bit.
Okay, can they hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been using Ampeg since I was a little kid. Pretty much Ampeg is the greatest, best bass amp in the world. Look, I'm sure there's some other new stuff out there that I haven't used, but, from my, 50-something years of experience.
Dude.
What?
Terry called me when
Which
we
Terry?
rehearsed over at Marquee.
Which Terry?
Terry that owns it now.
Oh.
She goes,
Oh, yeah?
how did Dave find that head? Remember they said the heads didn't work and you went,
Oh, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Now
That
now
was
they
funny.
don't even use. They got rid of all the. We're talking about this this local
Rehearsal.
nice rehearsal studio, Marquee. Give them a good plug because they're great guys. But you know,
She lives right down here.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh okay. You know, but you
Nice
you
people.
brought that up, and because I basically use SVTs, and what I was saying is, with bass amps, you know, again, it's very subjective. Everybody likes a different sound, a different thing. But in my bestial opinion, you know, at the SVT, the 810 inch speakers and the
Yeah.
original 300-watt tube heads is the gold standard of any bass amp ever created or invented. Again, I don't know every new amp that's out there, but in my experience, even
Yeah.
in the last 10, 15 years, the other amps that I've tried and played through other guys or a rehearsal or studios, they're just trying to emulate SVT. Cheaper, lighter, smaller, more compact, whatever. Nothing compares to an SVT
I don't think
8
so
by
either.
10 cabinet. Yeah.
Like when we played, the sound of the bass was amazing.
Yeah, and that, but I don't even remember. I don't even, that wasn't an 8 by 10. It was
No,
something
no.
smaller.
Yeah, it was
there.
smaller, but
Right.
that head sounded great.
Right, and the heads are very expensive to maintain because they all have like, you know, big 6550 tubes and stuff, you know, and like for rehearsal studios, they got people, you know, blasting through these amps day and night every day.
Yeah.
And it just got too expensive for Marquee and other studios to, you know, keep those amps running. They don't even use them anymore. They
No,
gave
no.
up.
She said something about like to repair them, like sending them. She asked me about
Yeah,
a repair
exactly.
guide. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, they're way too
Like
expensive.
I don't
Right.
even know any repair guys around here anymore.
Well, there's plenty of guys that'll do it, but it's very expensive. And while we're talking about the SVT, I got so involved with them even after Sabbath when I was moved to LA and playing with Chris Impelitary. I got to be friends with, you know, some guys online may remember this, a band called Uriah Heep. Remember Uriah Heep?
One of my favorites.
Okay, so Ken Hensley was the keyboard player, and he wrote a lot of the songs too. He ended up becoming.
Holy shit,
Yeah,
really?
he died. He died about 5 years ago. Rest in peace with him too. It's unfortunate that we've lost a lot of these great
That's
people.
crazy.
But Ken Hensley became the artist relations director for Ampeg, which was under the umbrella of St. Louis Music. It's a very big company. They owned
Wow.
Ampeg, Alvarez, Crate. Remember Crate amps?
Yeah.
Alvarez, Yari. So
Yeah.
Ampeg was owned by St. Louis Music.
Wow.
So Kensley and I got to be very, very close friends because he used to come to LA to meet with all the endorsees all the time. And we got to be so close that he got sick of like just when he came to LA, like living in hotels. So I was living with Stet Howland. People know Stet.
Stet.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys live together?
Yeah.
I
We
didn't
played
know that.
together. We played together. We met in Impelitary. That's another long story. But Stet and I were living together, and we told Ken, you can, you know, just chip in. We'll have your own room. And he had his own room at our apartment with me and Stet.
Holy shit.
So, and me and Hensley got so close. And then during this time, this was about 87, 88. This is when everybody, all the amp companies were going from like, you know, from like the big tube heads.
Yeah.
They were going to rack
Oh,
mounts.
the racks. Yeah.
Everything went to a rack instead of with a carry handle. 'Cause
Same with guitar.
with guitar too.
Everything was rack.
Everything went to rack. So during this time, Hensley, you know, I was really tight with the company, and they flew me from LA to St. Louis, where the Ampeg factory was, maybe 8 or 10 times to do the original testing on the original SVT rack amps.
Holy crap.
And I gave them my artist input, and you got to fix this and this and this. So they flew me in there quite a few times and gave me one, which I still have. It was originally called the
Did it
SVT
sound as good
2.
as the head?
It was the same thing,
Same thing?
as the tube head, but it was just in a rack mount, so you
Okay.
could put it in a rack case. The rest of it was the same
Same.
head, but they changed a few things or whatever, and that's why I did all the testing. So they loved me so much there at Ampeg that they made me a plaque, which I still have on the wall. No kidding. If you remind me, I'll send you a picture
my
of it,
God, dude.
and you can post it for all these online people. And it's called the Ampeg Beast Award.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not
Beast.
bullshitting. It's called the Ampeg Beast Award for your enthusiasm and dedication towards Ampeg bass equipment and, you know, your involvement in helping us do all this. So yeah, that's really cool.
That's a crazy.
Good Ampeg stories there.
Yeah. Let's see. Did you play on Sacred Groove with George Lynch? I know you played with George.
No, I
Did
never
you?
played with George.
Oh no, that was Patrick.
No,
Patrick
Patrick did.
was-
Yeah,
yeah, Patrick.
I know George for a long time, but I never played with him.
Yeah, I told some stories
Great guitar
about him.
player, man. Great guitar
Like the
player.
last time we were there, he was like it was
Yeah.
like a little weird. Like with all of us.
Yeah, I like I said,
I don't
I
know.
knew him from back in the day. You know, there's a whole story about Oni. I don't know if I'll go into that story right now. But, some of these stories we keep to ourselves. We don't want to fucking piss people off either. So I'm always nice with everybody.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I don't talk shit about anybody. It's rock and roll,
I
man.
do.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's your show.
No. But I go after the fake people that bullshit.
Yeah, well, that's a
guys like
different
being-
thing.
Like a lot of people don't
Yeah.
know me because I did like when we talk like the spec deals, I was doing the NDAs and stuff with
Yeah.
the labels and stuff. So like a lot of people, came out of GIT. A lot of people didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
And then I got dance band, and then after that I started writing,
Right.
and then like I hit everything, and
Right.
people like now people are coming out like Carmine.
I-
Piece just told about the Ozzy
Yeah.
shit where he lost all his royalties.
Oh, yeah,
my
yeah.
god, that's
he's got some good stories.
Oh, my
I know,
God.
I know Carmine and obviously Vinny for many, many years. Carmine and I actually did teaching clinics together back then.
He's funny as shit.
He is. He's a character. I always bump into him. He comes to shows
They're like
once in a while.
different. They're the same, but
Oh
they're
yeah,
just
no, they're
Vinny
totally
and Carmine.
different. And he comes because I do the rock and roll fantasy camp.
Yeah.
Quite often. And Vinny's a big part of that. He does everyone.
And Steven, he just played with Craig Goldie.
Right. I was just hanging out with Craig
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a couple months ago. What a great dude, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Great guitar, great guy. We
Humble.
were at the bar
Nice.
at the last night, the performance night up here in the Funky Biscuit up in Boca. And, we were together he was teaching other kids and I was.
Was that here?
That was here. That was here in December.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would have came and hung out.
You probably don't remember. But anyway, Craig was really cool. He came up to me, we're hanging out at the bar, and he's like, "Beast, man, you're amazing. You're like one of the greatest, bass players ever." I'm like, "Oh, thanks a lot, bro." We never got a chance to really play together.
Yeah.
But Dio and I were great friends, even though
Yeah.
Dio was not in Sabbath during the several times
Yeah.
that I was in Sabbath. But me and Ronnie were very good friends. We used to smoke weed together. We rehearsed next to each other. One time I was in a band called Insomnia. This is in LA after Sabbath. That's there's a million stories. I forgot to mention Insomnia before. Great band with me, Paul Sabu, genius guitar player, and Lance Bulin. People remember a band called Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
He was a great guitar player and songwriter, and we had this other drummer, Jerry Lawson.
That's
Again, there's a
crazy.
million stories, but we rehearsed right next to Ronnie, and a couple times I helped Ronnie and Vinny try out guitar players. I don't remember who they were, if it was Craig or other people at that time, but I miss Ronnie every day, man. The greatest metal singer of all time, in my opinion, really.
This is a crazy question. How can you explain the fact that Billy Sheehan started playing bass at 19, yet became the world's best rock bassist just 2 to 4 years later?
I don't know how to. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know whether or not that's true about Billy. We go way back. As a matter of fact, when I was still in college, upstate New York, went to State University of New York at Geneseo, which is upstate New York, right outside of Rochester. Billy's from Buffalo, which is just a little further north. And Billy's original band, maybe this person knows, was Talus.
Yeah.
So my band was Freeway. We would play Friday, and Talus would play the next day, or vice versa. We played all the same places back then. So I don't know if Billy started at 19. Maybe you're right. I don't know, but I know Billy from 1976 till today.
He just played with, I think it was Phil X and Kenny Randall Earl from Manowar in Tennessee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just saw Phil X just played with Triumph. I was just there 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Great guitar player.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. I don't know, everything about Billy's life, but we've been on each other's tail, so to speak, in the business for many. And of course, look, Billy Sheehan is amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing. We just have different styles. He's a Fender tap, Eddie Van Halen. He's the first guy that started doing all that on bass. Tapping and all that.
But
And
I got to be honest. The first time when we played at Marquee,
yeah, you and I.
Yeah.
With Patrick. Yeah.
When you started riffing,
Yeah.
I fucking shit my pants.
Oh, that's cool, bro.
I was like, what the fuck? He could play like that?
Of course. Like I said, I love Billy. He's got every award that they can make for bass, and I don't have all those awards.
I was like, holy shit.
I'm not a tapper. That's just not my style. I am the
No, but you were
groove.
playing runs and shit. I was like,
Runs, come on! I
what?
play with Impelitary.
I
I've
was
been
like-
doing this my whole life. But you know what? It's a good spot to mention this. And for people listening and watching, this is something. Whatever instrument you play, it doesn't matter. Rock and roll is a very simple art form. Okay, doesn't mean it's so simple to play, but you know, as far as technique and compare it to jazz or classical or
Yeah.
stuff like that, you know, it's a relatively simple art form.
Yeah.
But it's all about how you do it and the attitude. And the main point I'm trying to make here, Chris, is that rock and roll has been done a zillion times or whatever. The whole secret to being great in rock and roll, no matter what instrument that you sing or you play or whatever, it's all about creating your own style. And that is the hardest thing to do.
I know.
Because we all steal and copy from you know, the masters and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the people we grew up listening to. I've been doing it since I was a kid.
Same with
You steal
guitar,
it and you make it
Eddie Van
yours.
Halen's,
Of
Bob
course.
Ross's.
Look, we're all have influences, and if you think you're going to hide your influences, then you're making a big mistake. The thing is to take it, you know, what I call the pyramid of rock and roll. You got to keep climbing up the steps of the pyramid so you're able to develop your own style. Because it's not just about the notes you play, because Hendrix used to say, the notes don't matter, it's the relationship between the notes. But the main thing is being an entertainer, being a performer. People want to come out and be entertained. Whatever
Oh, yeah.
band or songs that you're playing, you know, I go see these bands that they just stand up there. And, you know, people are leaving.
I hate that.
You have to be a performer and you got to be an entertainer. And then again, the hardest thing is to develop your own style. I've been developing the Beast, you know, style for 40 something years.
Yeah.
And that's how people know me. When you come, you know, I don't toot my own horn, but if you've seen me play, you know, whether it was back in the day or even now, you've never seen anything like that before because I am unique in what I do.
Well, that was the thing. You shocked me because I didn't know you could play like that.
Right.
Until
That's cool.
Until we played.
Right,
But you know, when we played, and I told you this before, it was like you brought me. You and Patrick made me feel it was fun. It was like playing back when we were
Right.
kids,
It's got to be fun.
and that was the whole thing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Chris. It's got to be fun. Like I said, it's all about performing and entertaining
And
people.
friends first. I
Yeah, friends first.
We got to be friends.
Well,
first.
yeah. Look, if you want to create a band, you know, look, it's difficult being in bands because you got all different personalities. You know, people have their families, their private lives, their personal lives, their work lives. You know, it's not easy. So, you know, you're kind of married to all the people in your band, but you don't get to have sex with each other. So, you know, not on a porno kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's harder to develop those relationships, but you have to be friends first and develop chemistry.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Let's see. What was Chris Impelitary like in real life? How he practiced before performance?
Chris and I got along famously. After, well, I try to keep the story short. Like I said a couple of times, they're all connected. So I had this band that was called Leo. The singer's name was Leo. This is after Sabbath. I came back. I was actually getting ready for law school at this time. And this was like 87. Yeah, 87. And I come back and it's like 50 messages from this singer guy, Leo, on my machine, whatever. Anyway, we ended up getting together, and he had this great guitar player from Rhode Island, Ernie Burns, and they had some great songs. And we started rehearsing. We had this guy Joe Grossman, who was a big radio guy in New York, and he, again, the stories are long. I got to kind of clip them short, but this guy was like financing this band. So we were rehearsing the songs in New York City, and me and Leo both knew we got to go to L.A. You know,
Yeah.
So, you know, because, I mean, some bands like White Lion came
yeah.
out of New York or whatever. But, you know, the happening thing then, if you wanted to really, you know, get a deal was...
Ari's whiskey.
Yeah. I mean, that's where
Yeah.
most of the record companies were. There were record companies in New York City, for sure. But, you know, the
Most
scene...
most of the scouts were out there.
Most of the scouts were out there. So we got this guy, Joe Grossman, to finance us. We moved to L.A. from New York. Because we were rehearsing in New York.
That had to be a
we
shock,
moved to LA.
yeah.
Anyway, long story. I'm not going to tell that whole other story. It was a whole bullshit that happened, some shit that I found out. So then...
Would Chris practice
no,
before shows?
I'm leading up to Chris.
Okay.
This was this Leo project before Impelitary. So I come back and I get a call from Eric Singer, who
yeah.
who was my drummer in Sabbath, has been in Kiss for over 30 years. One of my brothers in the universe, and he's like, look, this guy Chris Impelitary. I didn't know who he was, even though he was from Connecticut. I didn't know who he was. So Eric called me up. He goes, look, this guy Spitz playing drums and whatever. Try to shorten the story there. And he goes, Eric's like, I told him about you. So anyway, I was in New York at the time. I flew back to LA. Chris came to pick me up, and we went and jammed. And of course, I got the gig. So then I had to go back where we were living with Leo at this whole house, and it was a whole big thing. He was pissed off. I never heard from the guy since. He hates me. Unfortunately, Leo, if you're out there, I still love you, brother, but it's rock and roll. It was just time for me to move on.
Yeah.
So that's how Chris and I met, and I had no place to live. So I ended up living with Chris and his girlfriend, who's his wife now, Ronnie. And we lived together, and that's how Chris and I started playing. We got along great. Now, Impelitary's thing, if you follow Impelitary, Chris's thing, he's always wanted to be the fastest guitar player in the world. That's like his thing.
He's fucking fast.
He's really fast. Hello.
That's my wife, Tracy.
Oh, nice to meet you, Tracy. I'm Dave. So
the Beast. You call him the Beast.
Well, I said Dave first. So she meets me first. Then you can call me the Beast from now on. Yeah, so Chris and I got along great right from the get-go. And remember, Graham Bonnet was the singer.
Holy shit.
One of the greatest singers in the history of rock and roll. Alcatraz, Yngwie, right?
Yeah, man.
So
what a voice.
Yeah. So that's a whole other story. But Chris and I lived together. We got along fantastic. And like people may not realize it, but like we were just sitting on the couch, like in Chris's apartment, a real nice apartment. And we would be jamming, and he was like an amazing kind of Clapton Clapton, like bending the crap out of notes and shit. Because Chris really has that in his soul. But, like I said just a couple minutes ago, you have to be unique. You got to create your niche in rock and roll. You got to be a great entertainer and performer, and you have to invent and create your own style. And that's what Chris has been able to do for many, many years. I mean, this is, we met, it's like almost 40 years ago. So Chris is a great guy. I love Chris. In fact, the drummer that you and I, play with, my good buddy Patrick Johansson, has played on and off with Impelitary. He's done a bunch of tours, and dates with him. Yeah.
He plays with everybody too.
He plays with everybody because he's great.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's the point is when you get your name out there and people see how good you are and you have your own style. Patrick certainly has his own style.
I just saw him on the cruise playing with Sebastian 4 or 5 months ago. I was like, he played with Sebastian?
Yeah, he played. Look, you can get the call sometimes.
Yeah.
So I've only got great things to say about
that
it.
Cruise gig.
Yeah, he actually just called me a few days ago because he was at the pre-party on the cruise.
Oh, yeah?
He wasn't on the cruise, but he went to the pre-party, which we played just a couple of years ago with that. I had this band, United Metal Coalition.
Oh, yeah.
With me, Patrick, Dave Linz from Overkill, and his great singer, Daryl Beach. But, it's kind of in limbo right now. We never really did too much with it. So, good question.
Let's see. What's up, Amir? He's like, Dave the Beast Spitz. Great as shit. Let's see. If you spent 6 to 10 hours practicing every day, you can get good at things. Yeah, you can.
Where were you reading from? Because I got to lift my glasses to see this.
I'm excited about Rush playing again. Thoughts on that? What do you think of Geddy's playing style?
Absolutely love Rush, man. Anybody who's into rock and roll has got to love Rush. Geddy's one of the early pioneers. I mean, I could pretty much, my main idols because I'm, we're going back a little bit. You got me thinking about this. Is Jack Bruce from Cream? That's basically why I play bass. Not only him, but mainly him in the beginning.
What did you think of Hendrix's guy, Noel Redding?
Noel Redding was just a very basic, stable player. Great feel. He's not like some amazing bass player, but I grew up with all those Hendrix songs.
I thought him and
Mitch Mitchell. Mitch Mitchell was amazing.
Yeah.
That guy was amazing.
I thought that they complemented each other.
No question. Like I said before, it's all about the chemistry. But back to Geddy Lee, I'm a big Rush fan since the first album. He is amazing. I mean, nobody sings like that guy. Plus, he's singing. He's playing bass. He's playing keyboards. He's playing bass pedals, Taurus pedals, which I used to use. I had those same Taurus pedals in Americade. I
Oh,
don't know if
really?
anybody, we might as well mention that. Because
American.
Taurus pedals are like a mini keyboard. They were like 2.5, 3 feet long. And they had these big, giant, keys, just like a piano, like a white key and a black key. And
Would you play
you're
at the
playing,
same time?
Yeah, you're playing the Taurus pedals
I'd fuck that
with
all
your
up.
with your foot. You're playing them with your foot. And in Americade, when I used to use them, I had these custom built cabinets because we were talking about Ampegs.
Yeah.
So we weren't using Ampegs. That's a whole other story for Americade. We had all these amazing custom cabinets. We had like as much equipment as Van Halen in Americade. That's a whole other fucking beast story. So I'm playing these foot Taurus pedals through these 18-inch speaker cabinets. Dude, when you stepped on that, the whole building shook. I mean, it was ridiculous how powerful that shit was.
Yeah.
I wish I still had those because you can't use them in small clubs. The fucking roof would fall off and shit. But,
Another great white thing.
Great White, no, that wouldn't work with Great White.
No.
But, Getty, look, the guy can split his brain like 3 ways. And he's amazing. And look, I'm really excited. I don't know if I'll get to see the show, but I'm really excited that Russia's coming back. They've got this female drummer now. I'm not familiar with her. They got this female
I
drummer.
don't like her.
I don't know her. I haven't seen her play.
She doesn't push. Like, even though Neil was technical, he like drove the band.
But look, whoever this drummer is, she's got to be amazing to get the gig.
I think she's nervous.
Well, who wouldn't be nervous? Of course, right? Who wouldn't be nervous? So give her that. Give her 10 shows to warm up. But whoever she is, again, I'm not familiar with her style and her playing. If she's in Rush and she's got that gig, she's got to be fucking amazing.
I watched her other videos, and she is really good.
She's got to be great.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no way you're getting that gig because there's so many other world famous drummers. They could call anybody on the planet.
That's
so.
crazy.
And look, the tickets are really, really ridiculously expensive. Oh, ridiculous.
I haven't checked.
If you're out there, buy me a ticket, man. I want to go. But I love Geddy Lee. Look, we were talking about influences. So going back to Jack Bruce, John Entwistle, one of my biggest influences from The Who. We partied a couple times. God rest his soul. Also, Stanley Clarke, which is not metal. That's like Return to Forever, shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Miroslav Vatus, Ron Carter, because I was into a lot of jazz fusion guys too. The Beast style is not just metal; it's a combination of a lot of different musical styles that I've absorbed, and again, creating my own style.
Yeah.
And even Phil Lesh, from Grateful Dead. People are like, oh, Grateful Dead. Yeah, I had my Grateful Dead days. And Hot Tuna, Jack Cassidy. He's one of my early influences too. So it runs the gamut of a lot of different people.
All right. Where'd you do Lockbow in the room?
He's not locked.
That's all right. If he gets out, he gets out.
Okay, see you later.
Have fun.
So anyway, there's a little Beast history there about, some of the influences for sure.
Also, what's up, Chris? Thank you for having the best show on the internet.
Oh, hey, cool.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, you best show ever, Chris. Dave, I didn't know.
Okay, this guy's asking about acoustics.
Oh,
So let's dance, and I just happened to see that.
He produced, I don't know how many albums, but Head East. And he plays.
And he's cool.
Yeah.
So the question is what? Read it.
Did you ever give a
4001? There's a Rickenbacker he's talking about.
An acoustic 360 a chance, or too clean? Ampeg had that mid boost multi switch.
Okay, great question. Because like I said in the beginning, I'm mainly an Ampeg SVT guy, but I am also, and I didn't mention this before, and I'm glad you brought this up. I am a huge old, what do you call? He's talking about the acoustics. There was a company called Acoustic, and someone bought the company. The dog's going nuts there.
I know, he'll get
somebody. Anyway, the company called Acoustic, and a lot of guys used to use them. And he's talking about a 360. So I don't have any of the cabinets. I played through them a lot when I was a kid, and I grew up watching these other older guys when he used to go to like the high school dances.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is that cool amp? They played out of these acoustics.
They sounded good.
Well, the original was like a big cabinet, like an 810.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that was a single 18 reflex. So the speaker was turned around. I mean, with those things, and I have other stories about that, but I'm not going to go there. You're talking about an 18-inch one bass speaker mounted backwards with vents. You couldn't see it from the front the way the cabinet was constructed.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, with those things, you can't hear yourself on stage. and the sound man hit you. 20 feet later, 20 feet out in the crowd, you're blowing people's toupees off. But anyway, I wasn't that big on their cabinets, but I actually have 5 vintage acoustic heads right now as we speak at my house. I use an acoustic 370 for my rehearsals. Now these are solid state amps. They're not tube. They're not tube. I'm surprised you don't know about these. It wasn't a guitar thing. It's a bass thing.
Yeah. I didn't know I thought they did both though.
Well, maybe they did. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the guitar amps. But I am a really big fan of acoustic. Again, I have 5 of those heads from the 1970s. One was a newer model because someone else bought the company about 10, 15 years ago, and I used to use that for rehearsals. So I have a 360, a 370, a 140, and a couple other ones. So I actually love those heads. That's like the closest thing you're going to get to an SVT2 band is one of those old acoustic heads. They're great.
He said, Tar, what advice would you give to the younger generation of bassists and guitarists regarding what they should focus on to develop their music skills in rock and roll? Damn.
You might have to let him out.
Yeah, I'm going to have to let him out. I'll let you answer that.
What is it? What advice? Okay.
For
young generation. Okay. So my advice for all you people out there, whether you're younger or older or whatever, is first of all, you got to believe in yourself. You know, before anyone's going to believe in you, you have to believe in yourself first. And that transfers to everything that you're doing in life. You know, the people that you meet, and the band people you're playing with. So the next point there is you really have to surround yourself with the right people. Okay? You don't want to get involved in people that are like alcoholics. There's nothing wrong with drinking. I'm drinking right now. But everything in moderation, you know? Don't get involved in drugs and all that stuff. That's just going to ruin your life. You got to be smart and, you know, about yourself and your life. And you got to be even smarter about the people that you play with. So what I was driving at is you have to be real smart and careful about the people that you play with. You like if you're auditioning for them, you're auditioning them too. Like if someone calls you to come and check them out, when you go down there to jam, you're auditioning those people too. Are they nice people? Are they cool? Can you get along with them? Can you work out your schedules? You know, so the people thing is really important. You gotta, you know, you can't get involved with fuck ups and drug addicts and people like that. It's not gonna work. It's just forget it. Don't even do that shit. So the other thing is you have to practice and again continue working on your own style. And the best way to do that is to keep learning songs by other bands and other artists, but not just that. There's zillions of guys, millions of people around the world that can sit on their couch and play Yngwie, you know, or play Billy Sheehan or whatever, whoever you're into. You know, that doesn't mean shit, bro. You got to be able to play with other people. It's all about playing in a band and creating the chemistry with the other musicians that you're surrounding yourself with. That's what makes the music happen. Everybody can play the notes. We talked about this a few minutes ago. The notes don't mean shit. It's how well you get along and interact. The camaraderie, you know, that flows off the stage.
Well, after we played, Richie.
Right, the guy who was singing with us.
Richie was like dumbfounded. He goes, I never heard you in like the sound that was coming from you three. Yeah. I go, it was amazing. Yeah. You know?
Well, that's where it comes from. That's what we're answering this guy's question.
Yeah.
Again, the notes are just fucking notes. Yeah. Everybody can play the notes. It's all about the groove, man.
Yeah.
The timing. We're talking about drums and bass.
Yeah.
We didn't get into too much of that yet, but it kind of fits in with this gentleman's question. You know, it's all about the chemistry and the camaraderie that you create with your musicians. Because again, people want to see performers. They want to be entertained. So even if you're playing a local club, you know, that's what flows off the stage. You know, I go see bands, they stand up there and play. It's fucking boring, man. You know, even guys that are really good.
Yeah. You got to put
on a show. Who the fuck's going to sit there and spend money and buy drinks and you know what I mean?
I tell them all the time on my channel. It's all about the show. Like, if you want to just hear the band, go buy the album.
Right, or put it on fucking YouTube. Everything's on YouTube.
But to go to a show, you want to be entertained. Like, we're old school. the Elvis, the Kiss, the Alice Coopers.
Any of these bands, all of these bands, that's why they made it. The Who, Zeppelin, all these bands, they stretched out their songs live, and they were performers, they're entertainers. That's what people come to see, and no matter what they do to us with this online, because, one guy asked, I think we were still on the question about, advice to younger musicians. Look, it's really tough to make a living in the music business right now. Got to be honest. And I feel really bad for the young kids coming up, because the young kids want to be the rock star just like we want to be rock stars.
Yeah.
Okay? And they have so many educational learning tools available to them for free on the internet.
But it also seems like the labels in what they're doing with all the other companies have like a hold on everybody.
Well, that's what I was getting to, Chris.
Yeah.
And I was trying to give advice. There's no such thing as these giant record deals anymore.
No,
it doesn't exist.
Those are gone.
It just doesn't exist. Don't be fucking dreaming about it. There's very few even major record companies left. It's mostly distribution. Everybody makes their, writes their music at home and records it on Pro Tools and all these other digital platforms.
Spotify, yeah.
Right. So you have to be able to, if you really want to make it, again, you got to pick all the right people. You got to get along. You got to be able to write music and cool, interesting lyrics and great melodies.
What the people want to hear.
Well, you got to kind of do what you want to do,
yeah,
and you got to be inventive about it.
Yeah.
You never. What do people want to hear now? I don't fucking know. Fucking rap.
AI.
I'm not into rap. So the point is, you got to be even 100 times smarter than we were back in the 80s, because the music is free. It's all on YouTube, or it's $1.
I tell everybody, use AI to your advantage. Like AI learns from us, learn from AI.
Yeah, you know more of that about that than me.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, they just keep ripping us off any fucking way that they can.
Amir wants to
know. That's wait a minute. That's pretty much my advice: is stick with it and choose the right people to play with.
He wants to know what do you take for energy?
For energy?
It's talking about music for me.
We're just drinking vodka and cranberry, bro.
Tito.
That's all I do. I don't even smoke weed anymore. I don't do any of those fucking drugs. I don't do any of that shit anymore. So, you got to know yourself. Everything in moderation, but you always have to have a good time.
Yeah.
Chris and I, we only met like a year or so ago. We fucking jammed.
We knew of each other in the scene, but we never
got
really
to
talked. Yeah.
Right, which is weird. So, So cheers.
I
so
saw you around, but like we did our own thing. But I've known Patrick for like 20 years.
Yeah, and me too.
Yeah.
So it's surprising that we didn't meet before that.
Yeah.
Because Patrick and I go back like 20 years for sure, since he came to America.
And I met Patrick through Kenny, Ingves Tech. Ain't that funny?
Yeah, I know Kenny. So energy. I mean, energy. Like I said, everything in moderation. I have a lot of friends. They like to smoke their weed. It's just too strong for me, man. I grew up smoking weed since I was like 11. Dude, I just can't do it anymore. It's just way too powerful. And that's me. If you want to do it, if you can function, but people think you're going to get more creative when you smoke weed. That's fucking bullshit, bro.
No,
it isn't. That's not true.
No, I feed off of good players.
Right. So if you think drugs are going to be your fucking inspiration for the next fucking great fucking metal riff, fuck that. I don't believe that shit. It comes from you. It comes from your heart. Just be smart and take care of yourself, too.
Do you still have groupies?
Yeah.
That's everywhere, bro.
Not as much as the old days with the groupies, man. I'm pretty fucking old now. But, I wish I had more groupies because I'm single. I was married briefly once. That shit didn't last. She wasn't the right one. Fucking, we say that get your fucking shine box.
Yeah.
You Goodfellas people will know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So
there's always groupies. Someone asked about projects coming up. I know you started that new band.
Right, I have a new band called Pegasus with some local guys, great players.
Yeah,
we do a bunch of shows around. It's pretty much like I don't like to use the word tribute, but it's like we do classic metal, of course. We do Sabbath, Ozzy, Dio, Priest. Shit like that. We even do like a Billy Squier song, which I love Billy Squier. The fucking girls and the people go nuts. It's great. I love Billy Squier.
Which one?
We do actually. We were doing In the Dark, and
great song.
and Lonely is the Night.
That's another
Great
one.
song. So look, I'm
Yeah,
always
I
open to
love
try
that one,
different
too.
shit. If
Yeah.
it, like again, if it works and the people are digging it, we mainly do classic metal, and we do some old Rainbow now. We
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm a Dio freak, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So we do Stargazer and Man on the Silver Mountain. So
That's a
you come
great
to see
song.
a Pegasus show,
Yeah.
we're gonna fucking kick
But
your
you guys
ass,
were
man.
good.
Yeah, it's
And
really good.
we're still trying to do the Legends thing.
Right, you and I are working this
Yeah,
thing.
we're still working on it. But to get like we have Terry, he committed, but to get like a big name singer to do 5 to 10,000 seaters where it's beneficial for us is really hard.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to get people to commit
We
because
almost had Tim
yeah.
Ripper.
I
We
know,
were so
I know.
close.
Well, we talked to so many people already. But
Yeah.
I mean, you and I know, and Patrick, all of us know some of these, famous, great singers out there. But the thing is that they're really in demand, and if KK Downing from Priest is going to call up Ripper, I mean, the guy's going to go there.
Yeah.
People are there to make a living, and it's tough to. I mean, we talked about Joe Lynn Turner,
Yeah.
one of my favorite singers of all time. All time.
Yeah.
He's not really known as a metal guy,
No.
but Rainbow, Straight
Stone
Between the
Cold.
Eyes, Stone Cold.
Oh my
That
God.
Straight Between the Eyes is one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time, and that's saying a lot for me. Joel and Turner's amazing, but he's pretty busy doing different Rainbow things and stuff. So we're still hunting. Maybe we'll find somebody and we'll be able to get that Legends thing together.
What's up? Dragon, he knows some of the same
Who?
people. I think he's out in LA. He's like he wants to know where you're from, but he's played with like Markov and some of the Quiet Riot people.
Oh yeah, cool.
He's the real deal too. But we have mutual friends like Taylor. He's really talented.
What's his name? Dragon.
I don't know his real name.
Okay, so Dragon, yeah, you probably chimed in a little later. I'm originally from New York. I was born in Forest Hills in New York City, and I grew up. When I was 5, we moved just like a half hour north of the city in Rockland County, which was really like, excuse me, what we call suburbs. That was real suburbs then. And then I also had a house up in White Lake in the Catskill Mountains, and I mentioned this before, but since Dragon missed it, my house was only like a mile and a half, 2 miles from the original Woodstock site in 1969. So the guy here's a funny story about that. The guy whose land, because remember, it was called Woodstock because it was originally supposed to be in the town of Woodstock, which is up there. But so many people wanted to get tickets, they moved the site of the festival to Bethel, New York. That's why it's called Woodstock. It was supposed to be in Woodstock, and then so many people started buying tickets. Look, they had no idea there was going to be 500,000 people.
I knew they had to move it because
They moved
so
it.
many people were.
That's my point.
It
So
got
they
so
moved
big.
it right up the street from my house.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's some good Woodstock stories there, but we'll keep moving. Let me fill my drink up.
see.
You talk for a minute.
Let's see. These are mostly for you, but Randy Coven. I knew Randy.
Randy Coven, yeah, we both use the whammy bar. I have a bunch of bases with whammy bars. You can tell them about.
He
Didn't he die, that guy?
yeah, I think he passed, but he was using a guy down here called Pavel to do his basses or something.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
How do I switch it to cubed?
It should be right on the front of like where.
Crushed.
Yeah, if you push cross.
Ice type.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you gotta hold 3 seconds.
There you go. Let's see.
Ain't working.
No.
I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. Fuck it.
Who is your favorite and least favorite co-touring band? You could answer that later. John Schlitt is usually free, no metal but voice.
What is it?
John Schlitt.
What's the question?
Oh, the other one before that was who's your favorite and least favorite co-touring band?
Co-touring band?
Like I guess I don't know.
Like other bands that I toured with?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I never fucking trash people.
Yeah.
But, I did a bunch of shows with Great White, Double-Headed Tour. Tesla was the other band on the bill.
Tesla.
They were great dudes.
Yeah. Well, it's
Black
hard.
and Lawless from Wasp toured with us.
It's hard because like in a band, you got like there's always one asshole, but like in the whole usually usually like because there's 4 or 5 guys. Usually the band's great, but you'll have one guy that's you don't
Yeah,
get
yeah. Like I said, I don't fucking trash people in interviews.
So like,
This, you know, I don't get into that shit.
what do you
You
think
know,
about?
I think everybody's fucking great. You know, I've toured with so many different bands over all these years. I'm good friends with Kiss. Again, Eric Singer and I, you know, played in Sabbath
Yeah.
together. You know, he's been in Kiss over 30 years. I'm still pretty good buddies with Gene and Paul and Tommy. You know, I've done stuff, you know, with them over the years. Not playing with
Yeah.
them, but, you know, side stuff
Yeah.
where they asked me to help them. You know, one time Paul, they were, okay, this is a good Kiss story. Well, you got me going there.
Nice.
So this is going back a ways. This is going back a ways. Kiss was planning to do this convention where they were going to, like a convention tour, where they were just going to play acoustic. And then you come into this big convention room and they had all their old costumes and instruments on display. Like a museum, like a traveling Kiss museum. So they needed some help, and Eric told him, you know, because I was in LA at the time. So I actually worked with them for like a month or so before they went out on this tour. And, you know, Gene gave me a bunch of shit. He gave me an SVT case, some fucking slippers Gene Simmons slippers that I gave to one of my fucking students.
God.
You know, whatever. And Paul Stanley and I spent a lot of time together. Going through, like he had this big room with a lot of it, not all, but a lot of his guitars in there. And we would pulling out all the cases, going through the guitars, and he was telling me stories about different guitars, which is great because I'm a fucking guitar fanatic. You know, I have like maybe 160 something basses, which I'm trying to sell. So if you want to buy any basses, let Chris know because I need to get rid of some of them. Anyway, Paul and I spent a lot of time together, and then we're going through all the different outfits, and they had other people working with them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and they eventually went out on this convention tour, and they had all like the old Kiss, you know, some of their old outfits, you know, inside these like square
Like a case?
plexiglass.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so people could walk through. It was
Like the Elvis thing.
yeah, it was like a Kiss fucking museum. So I love those guys. They're just great people.
Oh my god.
That's a good Paul Stanley and
That's too funny.
good Kiss story there.
Let's see. I don't know about Nikki Six. Is there any piece of extinct gear from back in the day that you wish you could get back?
Good question.
We've all sold stuff that we regret, you know?
Yeah, so I don't know if you just chimed in there, who we're talking to, but I told the whole story, the whole background with Ampeg, because I'm mainly an Ampeg guy, and I do use, vintage acoustic amps. We had a whole segment on that. But, you know, I mean, yeah, sure, there's been some amps. Actually, when I was in LA after Sabbath and in Impelitary, I explained earlier, I had a big endorsement deal with Ampeg, and one time I had like 3 or 4 810s, 410s, 210s on the top. I had pictures of me with Impelitary with this rig, and had a special rack case made. We were talking about how I did the testing, the SVT, and I had also accumulated maybe 3 or 4 vintage SVT tube heads. And when I was leaving LA to move to Florida to start law school in '96, there's no way I could take that stuff with me.
Man, you'd have to crate it.
Not even that. Where am I going to put it?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I had to actually unload and sell most of that stuff. So I really regret having to do that because I kind of handpicked, you know, from different sources and different people, these vintage SVT tube heads. Man, I wish I had them back. I have like 3 or 4 of them now.
Yeah.
But when I came here, I had to sell all that. All I came to Florida with was 2 Ampeg 2x10s.
And
cabinets.
You've been here for a while now.
Yeah, I've been here like 30 years. In August, it'll be 30 years. So I only had, when I first came here, 2 small 2x10 Ampeg cabinets, which I still have now, because they were small enough and I could play out of them and use them. And I still have the original head with the story I told earlier. If you guys chimed in late, you can rewind later and go back and listen to my Ampeg story. The original head, remember I did all the testing?
Yeah.
That SVT original head, I still have that one. And I have, you know, some other ones, obviously, since then. You know, and I have some big cabinets down here now. But for a lot of these smaller clubs, I used to, bring my 8x10. I mean, with the SVT, you can't even turn the thing to 1, bro.
No.
The people, if they're fucking, you're blowing the place up. So I've been using a little bit smaller. It's still the beast sound, believe me.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's too much.
I had trouble playing with you guys because I had that amp cranked. But between you and Patrick.
Well, Patrick, everything, like when you talk about volume, everything starts with the
20.
drums.
Yeah.
Once Patrick starts playing and slamming those fucking drums.
But he doesn't look like he hits hard.
But he does.
He's such a big guy.
But it all starts with that.
Yeah.
The volume starts with that in whatever room. If you're in a big venue, it doesn't matter, obviously.
No.
You're on a big stage. Everybody's going to have more power, and the drums are mic'd, through the monitors and everything. But in small rooms, everything starts with the. Look, I'm not going to bullshit. I am known as the Beast, playing fucking loud. That's what I fucking do, bro. That's how I get my beast tone, my fucking vibrato, and my sustain. Look, I've got to tone that shit way down to play some of these smaller places down here. And I do my best to do it. If you don't like it, don't fucking come. It's rock and roll, man. It's fucking metal.
That's a great question, too. How's a guy who played with Sabbath get hooked up with White Lion?
Well, I was in White Lion before Sabbath.
Yeah, but everybody knows everybody. Like all the like the promoters and the managers, the phone calls.
There's a whole story behind that. You want me to tell that fucking story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because people might want to.
It's a good one.
Most people that have seen my interviews. It is a good one. Know the story, but I'll give you a short version. Okay. Okay, so when I left upstate New York, I came down. I told the story earlier, but I joined Americade. So Americade, we produced our first album called American Metal, and then we were trying to get a record deal, whatever. That's a long story. And then for the second album, Rock Hard, we tried to. There were two brothers in the band that had great financing behind the band, which was great because you don't really see that very often. People have some money. That helps when you're trying to make music and do stuff, buy equipment, whatever. Anyway, so we decided to hire a famous record producer named Jeff Glixman to produce the second Americade album called Rock Hard. So Glixman, some of you aficionados out there should know, Glixman produced all those old Kansas albums. Leftover to Carry On My Wayward Son, Dust in the Wind. He produced like a bunch of records for Kansas, Saxon, Metalheads Who Know Saxon, Gary Moore, one of the greatest guitar players that ever lived. And he actually also produced Paul Stanley's solo album.
I didn't know that.
Among many, many other artists. So Glixman was a real sought after and amazing happening producer back in the late 70s to mid 80s. Anyway, we hired Jeff Glixman to produce the second Americade album.
You must know Jeff.
Huh?
You must know Jeff.
Well, that's somebody else. I don't want to get. He's talking about Jeff Nichols.
Oh, Jeff.
So
Nichols.
You got me on the story.
Oh,
Get me
go
off
ahead,
track.
go ahead.
So Americade.
I didn't know if it was the same.
No. Jeff Glixman is a different person. So we go down to Atlanta to a famous studio called Axis Recording Studio, and it was built to record gospel choirs and like a fucking 70-foot ceiling.
What?
Yeah, this studio in Atlanta, Georgia, was built to record all these gospel singers. So they made it's like a fucking 70-foot ceiling,
like a cathedral
kind of thing. We went in there, we set up Walter's drums with just two overheads, and it was like fucking bottom, boom, boom, boom. It was sick. Anyway, we go down there and we record it. And
just two mics?
Well, that was just to test it out when we first got there. He's just to show us, the room and shit, whatever. Anyway, long story long. So during the recording of this second Americade album, Jeff Glixman, the producer, and I got to be very close buddies. He recognized my kind of natural talent, my beastness,
your
beastliness, my fucking, we got along really good. He recognized my talent. So anyway, I'm shortening the story. So before we left, he goes, Beast, I'm never going to forget you. You were fucking great. I never saw anybody play like you before, whatever. He goes, someday you're going to get a call from me. I'm like, great, bro. So sure enough, I was in White Line. After American, it was in White Line. Sure enough, and that's a long story. I'm not going there. During my time in White Line, sure enough, I get a call from Jeff Glixman with Tony Iommi on the phone.
Oh, Tony was on the phone with him?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Because Glicksman was producing the demos for Tony Iommi.
Nice.
Okay, so that's a whole other story. Because remember, Seven Star, that first Sabbath album that I played on was supposed to be, somebody was asking this before, was supposed to be Tony Iommi's solo album with all the famous singers.
Really?
It was supposed to be Ozzy, Dio, Halford. That was the original idea. It was his solo album. Anyway, that's a long story. It eventually became Black Sabbath album.
Yeah.
So Glicksman was producing these demos, and Tony Iommi, very interesting fact there, was engaged to Lita Ford at the time.
What?
You didn't know that, bro?
No, I didn't know
I'm
that.
freaking you out now. Tony was engaged to Lita Ford, and she was in the studio every day. And what's his name? Randy was the drummer. Why is his last name? It'll come to me. You guys know what I'm talking about. Randy was the drummer, was Lita Ford's drummer. So he left to join Ozzy. You know who I'm talking about?
Castile?
Randy Castillo.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Randy was in Lita Ford's band. He left to join Ozzy, and Eric Singer had gotten the gig to replace Randy. So Eric Singer was playing with Lita Ford. That's how he got hooked up with Iommi, because Iommi was engaged with Lita. So Eric was already in there doing the demos when they called me up. And they're like, how would you like to, play with Iommi and be in Black Sabbath? I'm like, dude, send me the fucking ticket, bro.
I would
that's
jump
how
on-
it started. That's how it started.
Dude, when Mike Varney tried to get
Yeah.
me with Ozzy and I was 16,
Yeah.
I was so mad my dad wouldn't sign the paper.
Really?
That's how I met George.
Well, you told me some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Ozzy story.
That
So
was
that's how it
crazy.
originally started, because Glicksman had recommended me. And again, this is what I was talking about before, about one of the gentlemen asked, what's the best way to make it in the business? And, we had a long conversation about that. Surround yourself with the right people, always get along with people, and never burn any bridges. And, you never know. One contact can lead to something that could completely change your life.
Yeah.
It may never do that. There's no guarantee.
I told a story where I kind of burned a bridge. He was below me.
Yeah.
And then he became CEO of the fucking label that bought my label.
That's my
It
point.
took a fucking year for me to patch that over. You never know. And it's such a small
You never know.
community.
It's a very small business.
Yeah.
Even smaller these days, because there's not
I know.
like a million companies.
No.
But you always got to be smart and always be nice to everybody that you meet in the business. Try to get along with everybody. Not every band is going to work out. Going to work out. I'm known for a lot of bands. I don't even mention all the shitty fucking bands that I joined and it didn't work out. Whatever. So eventually, if the stars are aligning, you never know in the universe. I know plenty of friends and musicians over all my years in the business that are just great people, great musicians, and they just never got that call. It just wasn't, the planets weren't lined up for you.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're not a good musician or you shouldn't continue on playing whatever, but sometimes things happen for a reason, and that's why you always, I always try to conduct myself in a professional manner. You meet me, anybody knows, I'm a humble guy.
Yeah.
I don't go for this fucking ego bullshit. And I'm not gonna name names, because I know a lot of fucking rock stars that are fucking ego fucking assholes. I don't trash anybody.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Doesn't matter.
I try not to get into that, but sometimes, like on the channel, I get dragged into it.
Yeah, you don't get sucked into that shit.
No, I try not to, but sometimes you still got to stand your ground.
It depends.
Like if
Like I
someone
said,
trash talked you,
if they trash talk
I'm
me,
backing you.
Well, that's a different
I'd
story.
be like, fuck off.
Right, because you don't fucking know me, bro.
Yeah.
And that's the point I'm
and I-
making. You got to be nice with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm always humble with everybody. The most important thing you got to remember is it's all about the fans. When I go out, I get fucking mobbed to this day. When I go to concerts, people recognize me. Even in
Yeah.
I don't look quite the same. My hair's still pretty fucking long, and I'm rocked out. But I go out, I get mobbed. You sign autographs, take pictures with people. That is so important. That's what it's all about, man. It's all about the people and the fans. Without them, you're fucking nothing. Who the fuck are you? You just play fucking guitar, man. Doesn't mean shit.
I say that all the time. If it wasn't for these people watching the live stream,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have one.
Right. That's what look, you got to be nice with everybody that you meet. If you're a fucking asshole, then that word travels fast. Just don't do that. It's so much easier to be nice with people that you meet. Now, remember, there are fucking psychos out there. I've had my fucking share of fucking psychos.
We see some of the local ones too.
Right. We're not even gonna,
we
we're
don't.
not- yeah.
We don't talk about.
There are some wackos out there that just want to, fucking, ask you all the wrong shit and be a jerk. You just, you
Well,
just
you're
walk away. You
You're
just
like
walk
me.
away.
We only go out to certain shows.
Yeah,
we
I'm
don't-
selective.
Yeah, we're very
about the
selective.
shows I go to.
Like
But I
your
go
bass
out.
student. He did very well, by the way.
Adam's kicking ass, bro. This is for Adam.
I walked up. I go, Dave said.
I'm sure he's gonna watch this. So
Oh
what
yeah.
you say?
I
Yeah.
said, I'm here to assess you.
Oh right. You told me that. Right, because I
He
couldn't go the
smiled.
other night.
I go, I'm just kidding.
I love Adam, man. I've been teaching him just under 2 years. He really never played bass before. He's just just like we were talking
Yeah.
about, just a wonderful person, and his lovely
worked
wife
his ass
Bianca.
off, yeah.
You've been fucking. This guy is so motivated. He practices his ass off. He bought 5 basses from me
Well, look
already.
who he's got for an instructor.
Right. Well, look.
Most people don't get
I
that.
didn't have fucking. I didn't have Jack Bruce teaching me when I was a fucking kid.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and I have other students. I have some young students, but Adam especially is fucking great, man. I love the guy to death. He's just a wonderful person, an unbelievable. He's the rock and roll chef. So when he came up to me when we first met, well, what kind of deal can we work out? Oh, so I said, I'm scratching my fucking bestial chin. He goes, oh, I heard you're like this amazing cook. He goes, yeah, I'm the fucking rock and roll chef. I'm like, okay, this is what we'll do. You pay me this much. I'm going to come over the whole fucking day. I'm not even looking at the clock. And you're going to cook for me every fucking time I come over. And we've been doing this almost
You're
2
like,
years.
look, why you're cooking that? No, you got to move from here to.
No, we don't do it that way. We rock out. We take a smoke break. We go back in. I teach them about the business. I teach them about rock and roll life.
Yeah.
It's not just fucking notes. So and he's absorbed. He's fucking sponged that shit up for me. And the guy's playing less than 2 years, Adam, and he's already gigging in a band. He played like 6, 7 shows already.
Yeah.
That shows you, because I have a very special, unique style of teaching. We're not going to go into that, on your podcast here.
Do you do online lessons?
No, I don't. I'd like to get that going. Maybe you could help me out with that. Yeah, I'm always looking for more students. But good shout out to Adam Feidelman. Man, there's a good example, because going back a few questions ago, one of your guests asked, what can you do to make it? What can you do? That's a big part of it. You gotta, teach yourself. There's a lot of online tools, and I don't really believe in this tablature shit. Like, let me just mention this. If you never heard the song, whatever, you look at tablature just to get an idea and shut that shit off, because you're going to get sucked into tablature and you're not going to learn what playing bass is all about. It's all about the ear and timing, bass and drums. So that's like a 2-hour fucking discussion right there. But you got to be smart, about how you're training yourself as well. But if you really want to do it, like Adam, and you're fucking motivated, you can do it.
Tess said he had a crush on Lita when he was a kid.
Who didn't?
I
Hi, Lita.
know. Let's see. Best live stream I've seen in 10 years. Thanks, Amir. I asked a similar question the other night. Favorite decade for melody? Oh, yeah. 60s, 70s, 80s. What do you think was the best decade for melody?
Melody, or does he mean metal?
Melody.
Well, melody goes back. I mean, you're talking about Beatles, and the Stones. It's not metal, but you're talking about great melodies.
Yeah.
Come from songs. You go back to Sinatra and Judy Garland, one of the greatest singers of all time.
yeah.
So that's kind of a little bit too
It's hard,
broad
right?
of a question.
Yeah,
Melody is that's what makes songs happen. Besides the rhythm,
I
and
said
the
the
riff.
80s only because there were so many different genres with great melodies.
That's on there. It's too broad of a
It's
question
hard.
for rock and roll, because melody is part of any kind of music where there's singing involved. Remember, the music has to be a bed. You always hear this quote. The music has to be a bed for the vocal melody and the lyrics to lie in, which is of course true. So that's a really broad statement, but it's true. But as far as maybe some of the greatest,
Yeah.
music, I mean, I'm a child of the 70s and 80s. I'm not really a '90s guy. There's some good bands, Stone Temple Pilots.
Did you watch Hee Haw?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Petticoat Junction, all that shit.
Dude, I love
Bluegrass
that.
is
Green Acres.
amazing. Green Acres. I'm really into that shit.
Yeah,
but
me
you know,
too.
like for rock and roll, really the masters are the '70s and the '80s, pretty much.
Yeah. Is there anyone outside of the rock metal scene that you've played with that would surprise us?
That I've played with? Oh shit.
Well, you didn't know me.
No, but
Did I surprise you?
yeah, for sure, for sure. For sure. You're not really known as a metal guy. Look,
No.
I don't know. I can't remember. I played with a lot
I
of
played
different
with
people.
Expose. He sucks.
I didn't say that.
No,
I
no,
didn't say
no.
that. No, if you go to the earlier part of this podcast, I was talking about my early influences, which are we talked about Cream, Hendrix, Zeppelin, The Who, and all that, but also a lot of jazz fusion cats.
Yeah, for sure.
Stanley Clarke,
Same with
Ron
me.
Carter, Miroslava too. So a lot
Yeah.
of great bass players there. So I haven't played with those guys, but yeah, sure, I've played with other like jazz cats. I don't even remember who they are. Not like super famous guys, but I've played on other recordings with guys that are in different kind of music and stuff. Because remember, you want to be really
Yeah.
well rounded
Yeah.
in your education to transfer it to your instrument. We talked about that a lot
Yeah.
earlier.
You have to be like if you want to be. My dad always said this: if you want to be a drunk, hang out in the bar. If you want to be a musician, hang out with great musicians.
Right, that's true.
And that's
Right,
what
yeah.
like we did.
You gotta, like I said, you look. Anytime you're listening or you're going to a club or a concert, you have to take the position where I'm here to learn. I'm here to enjoy myself and have a good time.
Yeah.
Maybe get a little buzz on or whatever. But even with the shittiest fucking band, you're gonna learn
You
what
dissect
not
it,
to
yeah.
do.
What?
learn
Oh,
not
dude,
to do.
I say that all the time.
Exactly. So you're stealing and learning from everybody the way they move around stage, things that you like, things that work for you. You fucking
Are
steal
we
that
brothers?
shit. We're brothers. We're brothers from another mother.
I say the same exact thing. Like I play with older cats, and they would say, "We're gonna go see this band. You need to come." I'm like, "Why? They suck." And they go, "Because he's gonna play one lick. You can steal, and then you can look at everything he does. And if that doesn't look good, you don't do it. If you don't like the way he dresses, don't do it. Look how the crowd reacts to the band."
Exactly. That was my
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
There's always something to learn when you're studying music, whether you're listening but most important when you're going to see shows, whether it's a local venue or local band or a full-blown concert or whatever. You got to learn from everybody.
You know,
That's how you get good.
what do you think about Yngwie Malmsteen's character and ego? That's
Look.
something for Patrick, right?
Patrick can answer that better.
Patrick can answer that
He
better.
was in the band 14 years, but I know Yngwie. Yngwie's like amazing guitar player. Not everybody's into the shtick that he does.
Yeah.
I
mean, he's a nice guy.
Look, Yngwie has always been super nice to me.
Yngwie's Yngwie.
Here's a good Yngwie story. I was in L.A. and Yngwie, we were at the fucking Rainbow, this famous, the Rainbow, the famous club on the strip there. And he comes in and he knew who I was from Sabbath or whatever, and he was like super nice to me. And this guy's got like a kind of a tough reputation.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. But I find out, we start talking, that he's a Glenn Hughes fucking Deep Purple
Oh, big.
freak.
Big.
Freak!
Big, yeah.
So he kept asking me a million questions about Glenn Hughes, because I played with Glenn Hughes in Sabbath.
Yeah.
So Yngwie and I always got along. My Patrick...
We should call him.
Yeah? What, to do a podcast?
No, to do the Legends thing. I wonder
Forget
if
it.
He won't do it.
He ain't gonna do it. No, he's got his own shtick going. But we'll leave it at that.
What if I pay
look.
him $1 million a show?
You pay me that, I'll get him. So this gentleman that was asking that, it was obviously fishing around for some fucking nasty Yngwie comments. You're not gonna get him from me.
Yngwie's Yngwie. I mean,
The guy's fucking amazing, bro.
Yeah, he's
Whether or
amazing.
not you like him as a person or whatever,
but
the
if
guy
you,
is the maestro.
Yeah, he is the maestro. If you rub him the wrong way, he will be nasty to you. But if you're generally nice to him, he's nice to you. You get what you give.
Leave it at that, bro. We don't fucking trash anybody, man.
Vancouver. had
That
a
doesn't
great
work
blues
good
scene.
for fucking rock and roll. It's
blues
never good
scene.
to fucking trash people.
Vancouver had a great blues scene.
Who? I don't know anything about that. New question.
Let's see. I missed a couple up there. Any new questions? What you guys got?
We've been on a while, right?
Yeah, I don't even know how long we've been on. What is it?
Over an
hour and 17
Scroll
minutes.
back, maybe we missed some down up there.
Can I do that?
Yeah, just fucking scroll that shit. Yeah, you weren't answering everyone. Yeah, I already answered that white line story. Keep going.
Yeah. Turn it to 11. Nikki 6. Is there any? We did. I think we. Oh, this is a good one. Are judges assholes to you because you have long hair?
Great question.
That's a good question.
Okay.
Outside of music.
I didn't see that before.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And I'm going to tell you about this. This is a fucking good question.
You're the fucking beast.
Right, because look, my hair has always been fucking long. I'm the
Yeah.
beast. Hair grows out of every pore. My hair fucking grows while I'm fucking talking to you. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And you got to pluck some of them out, whatever.
Dude, mine falls out like crazy now.
Yeah? No, my hair's pretty good. It's thinner. Remember, White Lion and Americade, we fucking
Oh,
started.
you had a lot of hair.
Dude, we fucking started big hair. Not even all these fucking
No,
LA.
it was you guys.
These LA motherfuckers. Us New York motherfuckers. Dude, my hair used to be like
I saw
fucking
some
2
old
feet
pictures
high.
of you the other day.
If you look up on the internet, they're out
Yeah. I
there.
tried to show my
So-
my kid because he was like,
Yeah, you were telling me.
he doesn't know who you are. So
Yeah.
Is he famous? Is he really famous? So I was looking up pictures and you had this huge mane of hair.
We fucking invented that shit.
Yeah.
Us and some LA guys too. I'm not taking all the credit for that. I'm not a fucking asshole. But we helped invent hair. So anyway, what were we talking about?
The lawyer, being a lawyer with the hair.
Oh no, with the judges. Okay, so I had planned on going to law school for way back since the college days. Anyway, so eventually after Great White, I was preparing for law school admission tests. I was living in LA, and when I moved here to Florida to start law school in August of 1996, my hair was still pretty fucking long, So I could not just chop it off. I would have had a fucking heart attack and drop dead. I couldn't just chop my hair off. So when I started law school, I started just trimming it a little at a time. A little bit here, a little bit here. Law school's 3 years. So in the first couple of years, in the summer break, you want to build up your resume and get experience. You're looking for internships. So, during the summer break, right? So the first one, I cut my hair a little bit. I still had some hair, and then I think I cut it, and then a little bit. It was still not long, like rock and roll long.
Yeah, but it was still like hair.
Yeah, like fucking normal people long. You know what I mean? So in the first summer, I ended up doing an internship at the state attorney's office juvenile division. I fucking hated it. It didn't work for me. I wanted to be, a civil trial lawyer. People that are injured, accidents.
Oh, yeah.
But it was good experience.
That answers his other question.
No, so the first summer we did that. Then I kept cutting my hair a little more at a time. So after the second year of law school's 3 years. Second year, I pretty much chopped it off, but I couldn't go all the way, bro. I had a little skinny fucking braid that was like 3 feet fucking long, and I think I still have it put away somewhere.
Really?
So yeah, I
my
couldn't go
God.
all the way, but my hair was really short. You wouldn't even fucking recognize me. So anyway,
That's
after
funny.
the second year, I got this fantastic internship to work with this great judge here in Florida in Broward County, Patty Englander Henning. I think she's retired now, but
Yeah,
she was a
she's
wonderful judge. She loved me. I used to have to be there real early. That was the hardest part of law school, was getting up early and then getting to court early, because I'm a fucking late night motherfucker. Whatever. Anyway, so eventually I chopped off that hair. Okay, so back to your question. So I graduate and I'm out there, and look, you want to be like
Presentable.
respected and presentable.
Yeah.
For me, it's a second career for me.
Yeah.
Look, I was 38 when I started law school. So I was 41 years old when I graduated law school.
That's an amazing story, actually.
Maybe 5 guys in the world or whatever.
Yeah.
have done that. Whatever. So I was 41 when I came out of law school and passed the bar and started practicing law. So back to your question. So I'm out there, and originally I didn't have any time to waste. I had to make money and had to learn the ropes, though. I had to learn how to be a lawyer. I had the mind, I had the performance skills to be a trial lawyer because I've been on stage my whole life.
Yeah.
Right now I have the knowledge. Now you got to get the practical experience, right? So and I met with some guidance counselors at the law school.
You know what you should have did?
What?
You should have had a briefcase that said the Beast on there.
No,
So
I
when
couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. So this is what happened. The guidance counselor said, David, for you, you're a second career guy. You got no time to waste. They recommended that I do work as an in-house lawyer for one of these insurance companies, be a defense attorney.
That's not bad.
So that's what I did. I'm not going to trash people.
No.
I'm not even going to tell you the name of the fucking company. The fucking worst company in Florida. Total fucking crooks. Didn't pay a single fucking claim. But anyway.
Well, it's a business.
Whatever, it's a business.
Yeah.
They're in there to make money. The owner of the company found out about me after like 4 months. He brought me in the office. He goes, I heard about you, David. You're kick-ass. There's fucking fraud in every case. You got to find the fraud. Anyway, that's another story. I had to chuck that in there. But I learned the ropes by working that's my phone. I learned the ropes for the first year and a half, couple of years, by working as an in-house attorney for insurance company. Then I got a great gig continuing with insurance defense with these two women, Buckner and Schifrin, Robin Buckner and Deanna Schifrin, at a prestigious little small firm down in downtown Miami. Dude, I used to schlep down there.
Miami.
By the time I lived in Hallandale, right? By the time I got down there, I was like fucking toast already. But they really taught me. They were like great mentors for me. So anyway, back to your question about the judges. So I had to learn the ropes fast. So they throw it with this, insurance defense. You got like fucking 300 cases, bro. I'm in court at 8 o'clock every day. Believe it or not, I'm fucking. Somehow I went to sleep early.
So good, I can't come in.
No, you can't do that. You gotta fucking be there.
You gotta be there.
There's like 8 different courthouses. I'm driving down to fucking Homestead.
Miami's fucking crazy.
Let me tell you. So what happened is with the judges. So I'm there. My hair's all fucking chopped back. I'm all fucking spiffed out. I got my fucking beast.
Suit and tie.
I'm fucking looking sharp, motherfucker. And you gotta look good. Your fingernails gotta be all fucking manicured and shit. Because people are judging you subconsciously. This is where the world is, people. If you're a
Did
professional.
you talk with your hands?
Well, of course, I'm a Jew from New York. We're just like Italians. But you gotta dress spiffy. My hair was short. So I go in there and I'm in there with my short hair, and I'm getting really good at this. And all of a sudden, to answer your question, all the judges started finding out who I was. I didn't fucking tell them. People started finding out. And they're like, Mr. Spitz, approach the bench. And they lean over and hold their hand over the mic. What's this? I hear you used to be in Black Sabbath. So as soon as all the judges found out who I was, from that day, I just started growing my hair back, motherfucker. And I've been doing it ever since.
There you go.
So good question.
Yeah.
Good. And you know what? Look, when I go in court, I'm pulling my hair back. I usually have my sides, cropped really close and shit.
Yeah.
My friend Karen usually, she helps me with my hair. I'm a little overgrown right now. But, I'm fucking...
Not Karen Tart.
Yes.
Karen Tart?
Yeah, she's the only person I let touch my fucking head.
Oh my God.
So when I go in court,
She's
my
so
hair's
nice.
slicked back.
She's nice.
I'm looking mean, and I'm the fucking beast fucking trial lawyer.
Nice.
So good question.
Let's see. Who's better guitar players? Yngwie, Jason Becker, Chris Impelitary, or Michael Romero? That's tough. They're all good.
I don't know. I hate to fucking categorize people.
When you're like at that level, they're all good. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
they're
a
all
reason
great.
why. There's
They're
a
all
reason
great.
why they're that high.
Like some of my favorite guitar players. I mean, look, Neil Schon is from Journey. He's not a metal guy. That guy's one of the greatest guitar players.
for sure.
For sure. I mean, there's so many great guitar players. Look, I mean, like I said before, Impelitary's amazing. Yngwie's, those guys are amazing. Steve Vai, Joe Satriani. But in my older age, and look, I used to be really, really into super progressive shit. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Fucking Gentle Giant, yes. King Crimson, all those fucking bands. I was like
I love
fucking fanatic.
Robert
fucking
Fripp for me.
fucking what's his name from Return to Forever? Fucking Al Di Meola.
Yeah.
Even the first guy. You know, I love all that shit. But, you know, in my older age, these days I'm more into guys like, you know, Gary Moore, guys that bend strings. And I am an absolute, you probably freak out. You may not even understand this until you look it up. But I am a Todd Rundgren freak.
Really?
I've been into Todd Rundgren since then.
He's good.
Todd Rundgren, look, he's not a metal shredder guy, but you want to hear somebody play guitar and bend fucking notes,
Yeah.
even more than Clapton and Beck and Jimmy Page. Hendrix is in a class by himself,
Yeah.
like Eddie Van Halen is, of
Yeah,
course. But you know, if you want to talk about guitar players, bro, whoever asked that question, go back and start listening to old Todd Rundgren. That guy fucking knows how to play guitar. Again, he's not a metal guy.
No.
You're not gonna hear crunchy fucking rhythms and shit. But unbelievable songs, unbelievable
Yeah.
guitar playing.
That was the thing for me.
Utopia.
with him. Yeah,
Utopia.
Utopia. Oh my god.
I'm
the
a fucking
songs,
Utopia
like
freak.
the songs.
Great fucking songs.
Yeah.
And I've seen him many, many times. He's still around. It's like 76 or something, you know. You know, look, we're all, it's hard to keep doing what you did back then, you know.
Amir says, "How blessed are you both to be alive doing this today?" It's awesome.
We're blessed. We're here doing it. We're trying to, you know, spread the knowledge on these podcasts. I try to do,
I don't know.
you know,
I don't know if you want to answer this one.
what is it?
Did you ever record anything with your brother?
Well, I haven't talked to Danny for a while, and we have done some other, projects on and off here and there, but we never. I don't think I ever really recorded anything. No, but I haven't talked to him lately, so I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not here to talk about him. But God bless Danny. He was in Anthrax since pretty much the beginning.
That's amazing too. Like he started Anthrax from the beginning.
Well,
and
he
then-
didn't start it.
Well,
Scott.
yeah, Scott. But
Scott
I
and
mean,
Charlie
he was
pretty much
he was
started
part of the beginning.
He was from
And then-
from Armed and Dangerous, from the
Like-
first EP.
Anthrax got pretty big. And
For
then
sure.
and then you ended up in Sabbath and all, like two family members.
Exactly.
in huge bands.
That's an interesting point because
insane to
my
me.
parents, George and Irene, rest their souls in heaven, they got to see me and my brother play arenas at the same show because it was Anthrax, Wasp, and Sabbath,
Holy shit!
and they came to a couple of the big arena
Was Stet playing
shows.
then?
Who?
Stet?
No, Stet had nothing to do with that.
No, with like Wasp or anything.
No, Stet joined Wasp
Later?
many years later.
Later?
No. It was the original. This was the original
Oh, the
Wasp.
original.
This is like 85, 85, 86. So my parents
We're lucky to still have.
got to see me and Danny play, giant arenas, both in different bands on the same night. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So good question.
Yeah, because my mom passed early, so she didn't get to see my son.
Oh.
But my mom and dad both, because I got lucky early.
Yeah.
Right place, right time.
Yeah, we were
right
talking
phone,
about that.
Right phone call.
Right.
And then you end up and you're like, is this real? And then you come back
Right.
and then you start seeing the checks and you're like,
Yeah.
who's punking me?
Right. We had a whole conversation about that, who you meet, and if you can get the call, how to conduct yourself when you meet famous people or you meet people in the business, how to get along with people. If you guys came in later, go back and rewind and watch that segment. We had a really good segment, about that with my experience, and how I got from band to band, and at least a few of the stories. I didn't tell that many, but that's important stuff.
Yeah. I mean, even Jaron, the bass player for Lynch Mob, he was like, can I get a picture with you guys?
Yeah.
And then, like, George just walking him, didn't even say hi to us. I was like,
Yeah, I don't know. Look,
I love George, too.
I love George. He's just. We should have mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
I think he's absolutely one of the world's greatest guitar players.
Oh, for sure.
I know him a little bit, because he's played down there a couple of times. I didn't get much, chance to talk to him lately. We used to talk back in the LA days a couple of times. And in fact, I helped him hook him up with the original singer, Oni Logan, but that's another story.
You should tell that one.
You want me to tell that story?
Yeah, that's a good one, because I didn't know.
Okay.
But I'll show you some private pictures later with
Yeah.
Wendy, Dio, and Oni.
So I'm living in LA after Sabbath. I got different bands together, whatever. And I get a call from George Lynch and his manager. I forget the guy's name, whatever. He goes, Beast, I heard about you. You know all these singers around town. He goes, there's this guy Oni, and he was playing in Mark Ferrari's band. So I don't remember the fucking name of the band for some reason. You guys out there, if you're listening, what the fuck? They had a deal. You know what I'm talking about? They had a deal. Mark Ferrari had like two-tone hair. Very nice guy, guitar player. Anyway, Oni was an unknown guy that was the singer.
Was it Cold Sweat? No.
No.
It was.
If you say the name, I'd probably remember it.
Oh man, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, they had a deal already, I think.
but
right?
it didn't pan out.
No, that's a different part of the story.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, they were playing. I was actually at the Whiskey A Go Go. So So George Lynch calls me up. He goes, "Oh, I heard you," because Mark was a friend of mine. He goes, "I heard that they got this guy singing. What's the deal? I want to meet this guy. Whatever." He's just being like kind of sneaky a little bit on the call with me. I'm like, "Yeah, I know Mark Ferrari. They're playing or whatever." So anyway, he comes down. George Lynch comes down. They're playing at the Whiskey A Go Go. And if any of you have been there, it's a little tiny,
It's tiny as
tiny
fuck.
little place. And
I
this-
don't. That's like the idea of like the Whiskey A Go Go, like
Yeah.
this. It's kind of like the idea of Elvis's house. It's not what you think when you go
No,
there.
it's just
And
a
it's
famous-
Like, it's like a shithole that
Right.
everyone's packed together.
Right, it's just like a landmark, but it's like a little tiny place. And there's a kind of a high stage, but not
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
And there's this rickety fucking staircase that goes up to this tiny, disgusting, cum-wall-filled fucking red dressing room. Nikki Sixx and
dude,
everybody's probably
I was
laying in there.
walking up that. I was always afraid that it was gonna collapse.
That's what I said. I called it rickety.
Dude, like you
Right.
could feel it moving.
It's like a fucking horror movie.
Yeah.
So you're fucking creaking up this. So anyway, I'm there that night. They're playing, and they had a good gig. They finish, and we're all up in the dressing room. And this is like a tiny little fucking 10 by 10 fucking room, right? And all of a sudden, we have douche, this fucking big knock at the door, and it's George Lynch. And he fucking barrels away in there, and he goes, "I'm George Lynch. Who is Oni Logan?" And he calls the guy out there, their singer, and he goes, "You're gonna be my next fucking singer." And he walks out.
He just
That was
that's
it.
all he said?
That's what I remember.
Oh my
I was
god.
probably fucked up at the time. He goes, "You're right in front of everybody, all the band guys and all the record people." He goes, "You're gonna be my next singer." And sure enough, he was. He fucking stole Oni out of that band, and he became the first singer for Lynch Mob. So that's my fucking Oni George Lynch story.
My buddy Eddie
We
lived
love you, George.
Yeah, my buddy Eddie lived with Oni and Anthony when they were recording Lynch Mob.
Yeah.
And
That kid was a fucking good singer, man.
yeah.
Yeah. He had a lot of
Eddie-
personal trouble after that.
Eddie would tell me that because you know how George is. He's not personable. He's just George. You know what I mean? He's not a
I don't know him that well.
He's,
I don't know
not,
him
a,
that
he's
well.
not a talker.
He's kind of a quiet dude.
And Eddie would tell me how many times he would get him laid because
Yeah?
he had no
Yeah,
game.
little John,
he had no
yeah.
game.
Well, he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, that guy's an amazing guitar player. We
Oh,
were talking
one
about
of the
this
best.
throughout our interview today. How important it is to develop your own style, pick the right people that you want to play with, and be a performer. That guy has such a cool, unique vibrato bending style. From a guitar player standpoint. I mean, he's fucking up there with Todd Rundgren. I was just raving about Todd and Gary Moore. I mean, George Lynch is fucking, in my book, that guy's fucking right up there.
And he's one of the last.
Look, I always wanted to play with him. And Patrick, our drummer, he's gotten to play with George.
Yeah.
And I've met him a bunch of times. I've never actually plugged in to be able to play with George. So I'm kind of bummed about that. Someone asked a similar question a little earlier, about who didn't you get to play with or something like that, whatever. That's one of the guys I really wish that I got a chance to play with. Because if he was in the right frame of mind and accepted me as the fucking beast, not like you're George, whatever, we could make some fucking serious fucking music together. If I sat down with that guy in his living room, the Beast and George Lynch, and wrote some fucking songs together, people would fucking freak out because it would be fucking kick ass. Because that's how good he is, and I know where he comes from. He comes from Clapton and Tom Rundgren
for sure.
and fucking Gary Moore and Jimmy Page. Everybody, we all come.
Yeah, we all
We
did.
all come from somewhere, and again, you make it your own. You gotta develop your own style, people. That's what it's all about.
Unless you're a writer for a label, then you just do what they say.
Well, that's a different gig. That's
Yeah.
a different gig.
Let's see. New Haven, Connecticut. Ray's first show was
Oh.
Dave managing Tony at that point.
It was David.
What?
Okay,
he's
I think.
asking.
Okay, so couple of points in there. New Haven, I believe, was Ray Gillen's first show, and there's a whole bunch of shit that happened around that. But he's talking about David. He's not talking about me.
No.
So
David
he's
managing
talking about.
Tony,
I think what he's talking about is David.
the manager with Tony
Well, which is
for Sabbath.
Sharon Osbourne. Okay, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about. Give me a second here. He's talking about Don Arden.
Oh yeah.
Sharon was his daughter,
Yeah.
and David Arden was his son. So if you're talking about David Arden, he was involved in the management to a certain extent at that point. If you're
Yeah.
talking about David Arden, yes, he was a pretty cool guy. He was always nice to me.
In the mirror. That wasn't Keel with Mark Ferrari. It was.
No,
I
it's
don't-
not Keel.
Yeah, I don't remember
No,
the band.
if someone comes up with that band, I will fucking
yeah, we'll
remember
know
the name
as,
of it.
as soon as it pops up. We'll
No,
know
it's not
that's
Keel, because I know Ron Keel. I know Gene Simmons.
It was
something.
after Keel.
It was around that same time.
Yeah, but it was like right after.
I don't know if it was before or after, but I was talking
I
about.
think they had two guitar players, didn't they?
They did. They had two guitar players. It was Mark Ferrari, and it wasn't Bullet Boys. It wasn't fucking. There's a bunch of those LA bands that came out at the same fucking time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't remember. the
Somebody,
name
if
of it.
they're listening, will remember. Or if you look up Mark Ferrari.
Yeah, Arden. Dragon City says Arden. David
Right,
Arden.
right. David Arden. Like
Who's
I said,
the worst metal guitarist in your opinion?
I don't discuss people who are the worst. Come on, bro. What kind of fucking question is that? I'm not here to fucking trash people.
I don't-
There's something interesting about life and rock and roll. And I'm not going to sit here and, Dave Spitz says Joe Schmo is the worst.
It's
Come
just-
on,
it's
bro.
just like an
Fucking
opinion.
grow up.
It was Mark's solo band Ferrari?
No,
No.
no. They had a name.
Yeah.
They had a fucking record deal, man.
I can't remember it.
Can you believe
I
these
keep-
fucking people want me to go on here and fucking
Trash.
trash?
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
No, it-
There's something cool. I'm here
If-
with,
if-
a
if you-
lifetime of experience.
If you get signed, you have to be pretty decent at what you're
That
doing.
was a fucking good band, and they had some good songs. I just can't remember.
it's not Cold Sweat. I don't think it's Cold Sweat.
Cold Sweat?
That's who I thought it was, but I can't remember.
I can't remember. That name, I remember the Cold Sweat.
Was it Rory McAfee in there?
I don't know. Maybe that was it. I'm thinking it was a different name. Somebody else, go on and search.
not
Mark
it.
Ferrari
I'm trying to think.
band,
Wasn't Rough
1980.
Cut, wasn't
No,
it?
it was
Con?
no, it was 19. No, because I was living in L.A., so it had to been like, because I moved there in '88. It had to been like 90 something.
Medicine Wheel?
is it?
Medicine Wheel?
No, that's not it.
No. It's similar to the name Cold Sweat. I don't know if that's that.
Cold
that could,
Sweat?
It could be them.
I don't know. I mean,
You-
that
you-
sounds familiar. Like I said,
you would have to look up Cold Sweat and Oni Logan and see
right?
if there was a connection.
Right, and see if there's a connection.
Corey
It was not
Feldman.
Medicine Wheel. No, that
Corey Feldman was the worst.
who?
Corey Feldman, the actor that went out with Limp Bizkit, the actor.
Oh, that actor guy. Who the fuck cares?
But you know,
Come on, the
so
guy's
I-
in a fucking
well, you
movie.
know what? To be honest, Corey Feldman, he is like not good at guitar, but at the same time, he's making a shitload of money laughing, going to the bank. Because
Well, at least it was back then.
well, I mean, even like when he went out with Limp Bizkit, because I mean, he helped.
He went out
fuel-
with Limp Bizkit.
yeah, opening
Doing
up.
what?
I don't know, doing stupid shit.
You
but
kidding me?
No,
Really?
but it drew.
I didn't know that
It
shit.
drew as a product.
Really?
Yeah, because you know,
God bless the guy,
Yeah, yeah.
man.
So,
Rock
like,
and roll.
if anyone makes money,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say. The most difficult Black Sabbath song, in your opinion? Ooh, that's
one?
a good one. The hardest Black Sabbath song.
The
to
most
play.
difficult Sabbath song. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't like to get too deep on single songs.
I don't think any
because
one
I,
is
you know,
super hard.
well, no, a
some
lot of
had
them.
a lot of parts.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Heaven and Hell.
Well, Heaven and
is
Hell's
long.
fucking no. It's
It's
easy.
long.
That's
though.
easy.
Yeah, but it's long.
They're all long.
Yeah.
You're talking about hard to do correctly for another bass player to try to got geezers
For a
or my
bass
shit.
player.
Children of the Sea is up there. I mean, Wheel of Confusion, Tomorrow's Dream, a lot of stuff from Volume 4. I don't like to nail it down because, like, for me, I grew up with Sabbath. Those riffs and patterns and bass parts are embedded in my soul, because, I've been doing this so long and I've had bands, I had my War Pigs Sabbath tribute that we do on and off down here for like 20 years already.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're not doing it right now, but, because they got
What
Pegasus
happened
going.
to Tim Brown? Was it
Tim and I, yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to him for a while.
Is he still around?
Yeah, he's still around. Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
telling.
haven't heard anything
I'm not
from
telling today. But I love Tim. If he ends up, I love Tim. He got a little upset because we ended up using a different singer for a couple of shows. Just leave it at that. But we only did a couple. It doesn't matter. I still love Tim. I've been trying to get him to contact me. Whatever. Like I said, I never burn bridges. Tim and I go back a ways. Anyway.
Yeah, business.
So
business.
back to the Sabbath thing, this stuff is so embedded in my bestial being since I was a kid. I grew up listening to Sabbath, which is a cool thing because then I eventually ended up being in the band, and that's a cool thing, in itself. But as far as difficult, Sabbath songs aren't difficult for me because
What was your favorite?
I don't have a favorite.
play.
I don't know. It changes day to day, week, month to month, whatever. I don't really know.
That's a tough
I don't
one,
like
too.
to get nailed down on that shit because
I
now.
I love Mob Rules.
Mob Rules is great.
Yeah,
That's
I
easy.
just
That's
love
a
it.
fun song. I love when Giza does
It's
all
like
that shit.
aggressive and just in your
Right.
face.
And like now with Pegasus, we're doing a show coming up on May 8th up at a great place called Connolly's. If
Oh, yeah,
anybody's
yeah.
down
West
here
Palm.
up in West Palm Beach, Friday, May 8th, we're doing a co-headline show with my other friends from Maiden Steel. It's an Iron Maiden tribute. So because we usually do a bunch of Maiden in Pegasus. So they're doing all the Maiden. We just learned like 4 or 5 other C-sharp tuned Sabbath songs.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to give it away. We're doing fucking Children of the Grave, After Forever, fucking, oh, you're killing me now. Children of the Grave, After Forever, Hole in the Sky, which my
Holy
guitar
shit.
player, Nate Blah, he's been dying to do this his whole life. He's so fucking excited that we're doing Hole in the Sky. And
It's a great song.
and Into the Void.
Oh, really?
So we're going to switch guitars because they're all tuned way down to C sharp. We're all going to switch guitars down to C sharp. I'm going to play those 4 songs right in the middle, all in a row. So that's going to be fucking cool.
Nay's a good guitar player.
Nay and George are great. Everybody, Mikey D, my new drummer. We got this guy Stefano Gugliotti. He's a singer. He's like a short guy like Dio. This guy can fucking belt it out, bro.
Very
And if you
rare
people
boots.
that have seen Pegasus play know this guy is like the best singer around, man.
Yeah.
He's in like fucking 100 other bands and shit.
Yeah.
We can never get him to show up and shit. So come on, smarten up, bro. We're just doing covers. So he's a young guy, so
the
it's
band
cool.
sounds really good. Because
Yeah.
I came to the one show.
Yeah, you came to that one show, yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
He's really good. Look, like I said earlier during our interview today, it's so important to the people that you play
You
with.
need to think of a nickname for me.
For you?
Yeah. I need
Yeah?
like the Beast. That's just.
Well, I've had that
It's
since
iconic,
I was like 10.
but I need something like that.
All right, I'll
that's-
work on it.
Yeah.
I'll work on it.
Chris Smiley.
You answer in a minute. I gotta have a smoke. You've
All
kept
right.
me on here for fucking hours already.
All right, let's see.
Let
what
me know
time
if you
is
get
it.
some good
It's
fucking
4
questions
o'clock,
going.
An hour.
We started at like 4
Yeah.
o'clock, bro.
Yeah.
Who's paying me for this?
Who's paying
Where's
you?
my fucking food?
Oh, I don't know if they're bringing
Dude,
it.
you have to feed me, man. That was our deal.
I gotta feed them. I get some salami. Look in the refrigerator. See what's in there.
No.
Maybe we'll
We
go.
talked about.
Maybe we'll go to Bonefish. Want to go to Bonefish?
Great. You gotta feed me.
Yeah, we'll go to Bonefish.
Stay in there, Bo. You don't want him out, right?
He can go out with you.
You can go out?
Yeah, yeah.
Come on, Bo. He was begging.
Yeah, he'll chase the cats. All right, everybody. I think he's getting hungry. I'm kind of hungry too. So what'd you guys think? Pretty cool, right? I guess I'll get Patrick out here too, so you guys can talk to Patrick as well. Yeah, Dave's fucking awesome. He's got some cool fucking stories, cooler than mine actually. He's a little bit older, and playing with him is, you know, an honor for me. But you know, it's we have a lot of fun together. Obviously, you can see a chemistry between me and him. So, you know, it's not every day you can be friends with somebody like that. Yeah, he's very cool. He's humble, nice guy. Is what it is. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not friends with like a lot of people. Oh, Weasel Boy, you missed most of it. You can watch it again. It'll be up. Nothing beats a Prince story. I don't know. He's got so, you know, to play with a guy like him that's played with all those bands. You know, I've played with some bands too, but he's actually been on Sabbath albums. And then like when you get compliments from somebody like him, it's fucking kind of freaks you out a little bit. You know what I mean? I've done a lot of stuff and I've made my mark and gone pretty high, but when a guy like that who's played with these other bands like that actually says how good you are, you know what I mean? Yeah, he's not a fake ass. He's a real guy. Thanks, Paul. Great show. Yeah. It's I'm just, it's an honor to have like the channel and have you guys in my life, and for me to share like stuff like this. He's a real friend of mine. Friends first before, you know, we play, and then we play, and it's an amazing feeling. And we feed off each other because we have a great chemistry. You know, it still freaks me out. You know, I've never been in a band like Sabbath that big. You know what I mean? It's crazy to even think that, like, I don't think of him as like we're friends. He's like just a friend to me. Yeah, that's crazy, right? It's mind blowing, the story, you know. But same thing. You're in the right place at the right time. It's a small world, and you get called by a group of people, and that's what happened to me as well. You know. Thank you, bro. I mean, it's I'm I'm just glad I still get to hang out with these kind of people and be friends with them. Again, I forget who they are sometimes. You know, so when you go and play with them and then, you know, they say something to you, you're like kind of shocked, you know, like Greg Goldie coming on the page, you know, saying something, or, you know, it's and he's been in a lot of fucking bands. Yeah, your network is your net worth. Abso-fucking-lutely. So I think maybe we'll go eat and call it a night, and then we'll maybe how do I keep up the speed? I don't know. Actually, I don't practice a lot, so I save. I built the speed up when I was young, so it stays there. You know, I get rusty, but it stays there. Yeah, I mean, I'm very private, so it's hard. It's hard sometimes. Like, he's a bandmate, so it's okay to bring him on. But you know, some of my other friends that are just friends, it's hard. You know, to because I feel like I'm bothering them sometimes. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. So we'll call it a night, and I'll go eat with him. We'll go have some fucking chicken wings, some beer. All right, everybody. Peace out and have a great night. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it's a little bit insight into my life and and his life. All right? Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you. Peace out. Oh, I gotta get up. Ugh.
Me and Bo hanging.
Yeah, Bo's nice.
What happened? We finished?
Yeah, I just finished it
Oh,
out.
I didn't get to say goodbye.
Oh, you can say goodbye. I didn't close it out. If you want to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, you gotta come with me.
Here, I'll come on this side with you. Good.
Good.
All right, he came back in. He wants to say goodbye to everybody. So we'll do it official with him.
I want to leave people hanging there. I didn't know we were almost done.
No, we were talking,
Take
and I
a quick
figured,
break there.
yeah. So, yeah, we'll call it quits. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun hanging out with
brother.
my friends. He's a great guy. He's a great friend.
Appreciate that.
And the stories are amazing. Better stories than mine.
Yeah, we had some good stories going.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everybody, chiming in and all the great questions. I hope it was educational because music has to be educational. That's a big part of when I do podcasts and interviews. I try to give people my many years of insight into rock and roll and being a good person, being a good band member. Being able to get along with people that you play with and people in the business and stuff. It's very important.
So I hope he inspired some of you guys.
Yeah.
Even though you're guitar players or bass players, I hope he inspired even a drummer or a singer.
Absolutely.
There you go. All right, everybody. Peace out. Let me close it off.
Make sure you send me the link too, so I can share it.
Yeah, you can share
Let's see what some of these people said. This has been a ton of fun. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, you can still read them. I just gotta pull this off and then close it. That's all.
One says, I love that New York accent.